Welcome back to Carneades.org. Today we are finally going to be continuing our series, Teleological Arguments for the Existence of God. In this video, we're going to be giving an introduction to abductive arguments for the existence of God, basically saying that the best explanation for the design properties that we see in nature is an intelligent designer. So, what is abduction, you may ask? Well, abductive arguments are also known as arguments to the best explanation, or inference to the best explanation. Basically, they state that our particular hypothesis is made more likely because it is the best explanation for the evidence that we have. If you want more information on abduction as a form of argument, check out my recent video on the subject. So, Charles Peirce is going to offer one clear explanation of what might constitute a theory being abductively justified. So, he's going to frame it as follows. Premise 1, some surprising or out-of-place fact is observed. Premise 2, if some hypothesis were the case, this would make that fact not surprising or out of place. Therefore, there is reason to suspect that that hypothesis is true. So basically, we're seeing something odd in the world. We're positing a hypothesis that would make that thing not odd or strange, and therefore concluding that there's some reason to think that hypothesis is true. And if that hypothesis makes things the least strange and accounts for the most facts, then it's probably the best explanation. So, here's how the arguments are generally going to be framed, with different things being put in for N and R and all that kind of stuff. So, there exists some object in nature N that exhibits some strange or out-of-place quality R. The hypothesis that N was deliberately and intentionally designed would adequately explain R, and in fact make it not strange or surprising. Basically, there's something out in the world that exhibits some quality that we'd consider out of place, and if we said that that object was designed, it would make it not strange or out of place. And in fact, that hypothesis is the best explanation for R. It's the best way to explain that thing and make it not out of place at all. And in fact, make the most things we can not out of place at all. Therefore, it's probable, it's not certain, note that this isn't a deductively valid argument like the watch argument. It is probable that some things in nature are products of deliberate and intentional design. In this video, we're going to take a look at some reasons you might support each of these premises, and in the next one, we'll look at some reasons you might deny them. So, there exists some object in nature, N, that exhibits some strange or out-of-place quality, R. It seems that organic matter is truly of a different kind from non-organic matter, for a lot of reasons. If you had only seen non-organic matter, rocks, and then came upon a dog, you would surely be surprised and astounded. Even a one-celled organism seems really importantly different from a rock in some way. It definitely seems strange or out of place. Or if you went to planets or stars or bodies in the universe and found so many that had non-organic matter, and then finally came upon Earth that had all this organic matter, it really seems that Earth is out of place. So the hypothesis that N was deliberately and intentionally designed, be that your one-celled organism, your dog, or the planet Earth, that would adequately explain R. It would explain why the Earth is the way it is. It would explain why a dog is so different from non-organic matter. It would explain why a one-celled organism exists. Why? Because in fact it was designed. And in fact, there are no facts about life as it exists that the theory of design cannot in some way explain. We can explain those facts as they were designed that way because God decided it. And in fact, all the seemingly surprising facts would be made a matter of course, as Peirce puts it, if the theory of design were to be the case. In fact, the hypothesis that the world was designed is the best explanation for R. It's the most confirmed by R, and it makes the most facts and pieces of evidence a matter of course, or not surprising. Of all of our hypotheses, the one that best explains the strange facts that we see in the world is design. That's what that premise is saying. This has been justified using Bayesian epistemology. If you don't know what Bayesian epistemology is, check out my series on the subject. The claim is that all of the hypotheses, out of all of them, the one that is most confirmed by the evidence of our being found in the world is the hypothesis of design. There's very specific definitions of what it means for a hypothesis to be confirmed in our series on Bayesian epistemology, but basically, according to the argument, if you structure your priors correctly, R is going to most confirm the hypothesis of design over any other hypothesis. It might confirm other hypotheses a little bit, but the one that's going to be most confirmed by it is the hypothesis of design. And therefore, according to the argument, that means that this hypothesis is in fact the best explanation for R. Therefore, it is probable that some things in nature are products of deliberate and intentional design. This is just using our abductive form. So, the only way you disagree with this conclusion and not the premises is to disagree with abduction. And it seems that if design is in fact our best explanation for a strange piece of data, there's no reason to suspect that a worst explanation would actually be the case. That would seem odd, strange, out of place, and we need a hypothesis to make it a matter, of course. So, that was the abductive arguments for the existence of God. Next up, we're going to look at some objections to these abductive arguments, and finally, we're going to take a look at the cosmic fine-tuning argument. Watch this video and more here at Carneades.org, and stay skeptical, everybody.